All right, Dodgers Nation, hold on to your caps, because the MLB market just got a new main character, and once again, the epicenter is Los Angeles. The offseason hasn't even reached its peak yet, and there's already smoke rising from Dodger Stadium. The rumors are flying, insiders are buzzing, and the name dominating every headline is the same: Tarik Skubal, the Detroit Tigers' left-handed sensation, coming off one of the most dominant seasons in recent years, might be on the verge of changing the direction of the league. And this isn't just any rumor, it's something that could rewrite the history of MLB rotations. With the winter meetings approaching, tension and anticipation are in the air. Sources close to the league believe the Dodgers are preparing a historic move that could place Skubal alongside Blake Snell and Shohei Ohtani. If that happens, the word super rotation might take on a whole new meaning. But what's behind this possible trade? Why would Detroit even consider giving up its most valuable arm? And what would Los Angeles have to sacrifice to make this dream a reality? Today, we're diving deep tactics, money, stats, projections, and the potential bombshell that could shake all of Major League Baseball. Every offseason has one team that sets the tone. In 2024, it was the Yankees with Juan Soto. In 2025, it looks like the center of the universe is blue. Dodger blue, after adding Shohei Ohtani, the Japanese phenomenon who redefined modern baseball, and Blake Snell, the reigning National League Cy Young winner. The Dodgers made their intentions clear. They're not here to play around. They're here to build a dynasty. And even after spending a fortune, Andrew Friedman, the president of baseball operations, seems to have one more card up his sleeve. Sources from The Athletic and MLB.com report that Los Angeles is in a prime position and willing to pay whatever it takes to land Skubal. Cut to Detroit, a team in rebuild mode, full of young talent, trying to balance the present and the future. And at the center of that equation, one superstar, one massive contract dilemma, and one inevitable decision. Tarik Skubal, 27 years old, left-handed, 6 feet 4 inches, pure power and precision. In 2025, he finished the season with 13 wins, 6 losses, and a 2.21 ERA, dominating almost every advanced metric. A pitcher who combined velocity and surgical control, with a fastball that touches 98 miles per hour and a slider that destroys hitters' timing. Skubal is the kind of player who elevates an entire rotation by himself. The Tigers know it, and that's exactly why they're stuck in such a massive bind. According to John Heyman of the New York Post, the gap between what Detroit is offering and what Skubal, represented by Scott Boras, wants is nearly $250 million. Yes, you heard that right, $250 million. Heyman put it this way: the Tigers and superstar Tarik Skubal have a lot of work to do if they're going to bridge what might be the biggest negotiating gap in recent MLB history. And here's where the politics come in. Scott Boras, the most powerful agent in the sport, has already made it clear he's not interested in negotiating an extension. Journalist Jim Costa added, Skubal and Boras want to hit free agency a year from now. No extension this offseason. And the Tigers, even with potential, aren't going all in for 2026. In other words, Detroit knows they could lose him for nothing, and trading him now might be the only way out. While Detroit wrestles with uncertainty, the Dodgers see opportunity. With cash to spend, ridiculous prospect depth, and an aggressive market philosophy, Los Angeles is assembling something that could become legendary. Picture this rotation. Shohei Ohtani, the unicorn capable of dominating hitters and crushing home runs in the same night. Blake Snell, the reigning Cy Young winner, with a devastating arsenal and a killer mindset. Tarik Skubal, the new face of MLB's pitching elite. Bobby Miller, the prospect turned reality, and Walker Buehler, the steady veteran built for October. Cinematically, that's the equivalent of forming the Avengers of the Mound. A squad of pitchers that combines power, finesse, control, and above all, a championship mentality. Now think about it. What would Skubal actually bring to this rotation? First, balance of styles. While Ohtani and Snell rely on strikeouts and raw aggression, Skubal is the master of soft contact. He induces ground balls, wins strategic duels, and gives the bullpen a breather. In 2025, he posted a 33% whiff rate and held opponents to just a .546 OPS, pure elite. With him, the Dodgers could manage Snell and Ohtani's workloads more effectively, especially heading into the postseason. Tactically, Dave Roberts would gain complete flexibility to manipulate matchups, alternating lefties and righties with surgical precision. And in October, when every inning matters, having 3 legitimate aces is an advantage that money can't buy. But of course, none of this comes cheap. For Detroit, giving up Skubal only makes sense if the return is monumental. Prospects like Dalton Rushing, Gavin Stone, and Josue DePaula would almost certainly be part of the discussion. And that's the kind of move that tests a franchise's DNA. The Dodgers have always known when to push their chips in. And if they go all in now, it means sacrificing part of the future for a nearly guaranteed present of dominance. But in Los Angeles, that philosophy has never been a problem. They understand that historic moments don't wait. Meanwhile, in Detroit, the conversation is completely different. The Tigers stand somewhere between hope and fear. On one side, a young core full of potential. Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, Cole Keith. On the other, the looming nightmare of losing their ace for nothing. And in the middle, a divided fan base, torn between emotion and reason. Some believe keeping Skubal is essential to preserve the team's identity. Others argue that rebuilding takes courage. And courage sometimes means selling high. It's a crossroads and the clock is ticking. Now let's talk about money and history. Jim Bowden of The Athletic stated that Skubal is set to become the highest paid pitcher in MLB history. The number? Over $400 million. If that happens, the entire market shifts. No pitcher, not Garrett Cole, not Ohtani, not Scherzer, has ever reached that total value. It also means whoever lands Skubal needs both financial power and long-term vision. And among all teams, only one seems to have both. The Los Angeles Dodgers. If the deal goes through, MLB's balance of power changes overnight. The Dodgers become the ultimate superpower. If it doesn't, Detroit still has a chance to shape the future of pitching contracts. Other teams like the Yankees, Rangers, and Giants are circling, but none have the same combination of prospect depth, payroll flexibility, and championship urgency that LA has. And here's an interesting detail. Ohtani and Skubal side by side would represent a rare fusion. American and Japanese talent, two styles, one obsession. Absolute dominance. A trade of this magnitude wouldn't just reshape the Dodgers. It would shift the entire MLB landscape. Other teams would be forced to react. The Yankees, already looking to bolster their rotation, might pivot toward Aaron Nola or Corbin Burns. The Rangers, champions of 2023, might rebuild their bullpen. In short, one move by Los Angeles could create a domino effect across baseball. And that's exactly what Friedman and company want. To dictate the pace of the league, to be the standard, the target, the model. So here's the question. Is it worth giving up the future for a nearly guaranteed present? The Dodgers seem to think so. And looking at the current landscape, it's hard to disagree. A rotation featuring Ohtani, Snell, and Skubal would be historic. Worthy of comparison to the greatest of the modern era. Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz in Atlanta, Schilling and Johnson in Arizona. Kershaw and Greinke in their LA prime. But as always, baseball doesn't forgive arrogance. Success, especially in October, is never promised. It's earned. So, Dodgers Nation, here's the deal. We might be witnessing something that belongs in MLB history books. A move that could alter the trajectory of two franchises and maybe the entire league. Tarik Skubal to the Dodgers? It's the kind of idea that once seemed impossible until Los Angeles decided to make the impossible routine. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments. Would you risk the future to see this legendary rotation take the mound at Dodger Stadium? Or would you play it safe and trust the young core? Because one thing's for sure, if this trade happens, 2026 might be the year baseball enters a new era. And when the dust settles, only one question will remain. Who's brave enough to face the Dodgers now?